Welcome to our podcast on politics. Today we have an exciting guest. He's Nik Nazmi Nik Ahmad. He's the co-founder of Bersama and also the former MP for Setiawangsa. Welcome, Nick, to as a fellow Liverpool fan. Good to have you, actually. I was thinking of messaging you and to wear the Liverpool baju, but I thought then, jangan partisan lah. Better be neutral. Okay, we go straight to the question. How's life as a non-minister, non-MP?
Well, in a way, it's a bit more flexible. As we were discussing just now, I run my own digital media company. So that occupies a bit of my time to cari makan. And then at the same time, obviously, Bersama still has a lot of work, being a very young party, and a lot of things are still being built. So I spend a lot of time with Rafizi and with the team to plan and to scale up the party. So I would say it has not been like a holiday or anything after stepping down. Still a lot of work, but I think it's a bit more different, obviously. And I still obviously serve Setiawangsa. So I still have my service centre. People still come to me with complaints, with issues, and we try to work with the authorities if we can solve that. I still go down, meeting the residents and everything. So in that sense, life goes on.
Okay, but how is it to lose power as a minister? Is there any difference ke ataupun?
Well, I guess I've been in politics for a long time. I've been involved one way or another since I was 19. I'm now 44, so that's that's what 25 years. I worked full time in politics since 2006, so that's been 20 years. And then 2008, I got elected. So I think, and I was, state assemblyman, political secretary to MB, deputy speaker at DON, state exco, MP, and eventually minister. So you realize that as you go throughout you go up the pyramid, so to speak, things change, the way people treat you, the way people talk to you, and all that. But losing power, you do feel that there are, that some people are perhaps less friendly.
Oh, okay.
But because before I became a minister, they were also less friendly. So in that sense, people say now you know who your friends are. But overall, like a lot of the residents Setiawangsa, a lot of ordinary people, even a lot of the civil servants who used to work with me, they still reach out, they still share, they still talk to me, and they still invite me. I still talk about the environment, for example. So in a way, losing power, you do see that side of it. But overall, people, there are a lot of genuine people, genuine friends who treat me the same, whether I was a minister, a YB, or just like what I am now.
Okay, you've been with PKR for more than 2 decades. At your pinnacle, you're the vice president. How's your personal relationship and your political relationship with your former PKR president, PKR president, Dato Seri Anwar Ibrahim? How's your relationship?
Well, I would say I haven't spoken to him when I resigned. We met a few times just before I resigned. And after that, he gave me a call in September, I think, 2025. We had a relatively long chat. He asked how I was, and we discussed some current issues at that time. I even said, some ministers, as an observer at that time, saying that some ministers are, it's pulling him down. I said
okay.
that. Right? I mean, maybe in better words, but I did say that these ministers are not being helpful to you. And we had some discussions and all that. So that was the last time we actually spoke. After that, I haven't spoken to him in one way or another since then, all the way to my resignation from as MP and also leaving the party and to form Bersama.
So is PKR a political enemy or a political friend of Bersama?
Well, we've been very clear that as far as Bersama is concerned, we are standing alone. We are not planning to join. We've seen other new parties being formed, but it's always about joining this coalition, that coalition. But for Bersama, we are not interested in coalitions because I think one reason you have a lot of disenfranchised voters is they vote for one party or one coalition, but then they realize that suddenly the parties will work with the enemy and all that. And I think in 2022 to a certain extent it was understandable because there was no majority, but I think the mistake for PH at that time was to go out and declare that or give the impression that they wanted to go to the next general election with BN. Okay, and now that that's probably unlikely to happen, right? It's unlikely to happen. So I think that made a lot of things very difficult. So that's why for Bersama, our stand is that we want to go alone. It's hard. PKR became very successful by working with PAS, with the AP and all the different parties. But for Bersama, we want to do it differently. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't. If you want to describe it as an enemy, then not just PKR, every other party in that sense is an enemy to Bersama. But I would phrase it that Bersama is standing alone and not working with any party.
Okay, you mentioned UMNO. You were in cabinet for what, 3 years, is it?
2.5 years.
Okay, 2.5 years. You sat with UMNO ministers during cabinet meetings.
Yeah. In between, I sat between Azalina and Zamri.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So when you were sat next to Azalina and Zamri, and then I think Zahid is there, did you get any inkling that UMNO will go against PH in Johor and then Negeri Sembilan? At that time, 2 years ago, yeah.
To be honest, I've always felt that, the coalition was necessary at that time because no party had majority. But we all knew that BN and PH have very different ideologies, right? We cater to different voter base. So I knew that it was going to be very awkward if you want to make these parties to stay together, not to go beyond one term. In Selangor, the 6 state elections in 2023, I think that was
very good.
I think necessary perhaps at that time because it was early. You don't want BNPH to be fighting, but I've always felt again that we should have declared from the beginning. We said that since no one have the numbers, so PH and BN, PH has the biggest numbers of them all. BN was willing to come in, GPS, GRS, let's work together for the country. But after elections, then we go back to the people and see who gets the mandate. If we were very clear from the beginning, it would have been better. But I felt that UMNO saw that. They were calculating that they wanted to play it that way. I felt that it was always PH, in particular PKR, that was hoping that this marriage would go on and on and on. When I think you go down to the ground, the thinking of the UMNO members, and it's very different. Say on Datuk Sri Najib's case, you ask an UMNO member, you ask a DAP member, it will be very different. So that it's not going to last. So we should have planned for that from the beginning.
But during cabinet meeting, did you have ada hin sudah ataupun?
No, well, generally it was people were very polite. I think people, we had differences here and there, but generally it was quite polite. But UMNO has always been very well organised. So UMNO will always have a pre-council before cabinet, which we wanted to do with PKR but did not happen. I'm not sure about the other parties, but UMNO has always been very organised, but they were very polite and professional, I would say, during the cabinet.
Okay, we go now to your Bersama's first electoral debut. That is the Johor election.
Yep.
So, what was the lesson learned? Should you all have contested, and what did you all learn?
I believe we should have contested, even with the result. Perhaps we didn't think we would have gotten a better result. Perhaps that's in our mind, and then we went in and that was the result. But I think we needed to go in because there were so many assumptions. There were so many surveys, ideas, you anecdotal stuff. You talk to people and all that, and I think we had to test ourselves on the ground because that's actually what matters, right? So I think the problem for Bersama was that we were very, very new, and while I think we have decent. I mean, if this was an armed forces, we had decent air force because you have Rafizi, myself. We've been coming up with statements. We have good digital presence on our podcast, and so that's good. And I think we are just as good, if not better, than most other politicians in that sense. But then again, you need your ground troops. That's just the Air Force. We see what's happening in Iran, right?
Yes.
You need people on the ground if you are to win a war. And that is where, being a new party, we had members, yes, but there's no, because more than half of our members are newbies. They've never been in any political party. So I felt that, and our candidates also, a few of them were former party members and all that, or even held positions, but most are just ordinary people, right? So that was another shortcoming that we had. And I think initially some were very positive with us, but then they felt that, the strong sense was they wanted to teach PH a lesson. And I think after a while, people felt that if you want to do that, BN is a better bet because BN can win. If they voted for Bersama at that point, they say, can we be sure that they can at least put up a fight or not? But BN, whatever it is, that they are at least, they've been there, right? So I think that was a calculation for many voters. So in order to make their vote count, they decided to give it to Barisan Nasional. Not so much because they love BN. ON is popular and all that, but I'm talking about perhaps those who are closer to the Bersama thinking. But they felt that they had to vote BN so that they can make sure PH loses.
Okay. Earlier you said that based on anecdotes, based on survey, then you all contested in Johor. What did the anecdotes and survey told you?
Well, I think overall that one, there's a lot, because among the Malay voters, there's a lot who cannot accept UMNO for 1MDB, or even they have very big problems with Zahid Hamidi. I'm talking about Malay voters, right?
Yes, yeah.
But some of them, of course, or in the past voted for PH. But for some of them, PH is they don't trust DAP or Anwar Ibrahim or whatever. That's their issue.
Yes.
So they go to PN. Perikatan Nasional.
Okay.
Maybe not so much that they're impressed, but they feel it's cleaner, it's better than the other parties. So when we formed Bersama, we felt that quite a big chunk of these voters were coming to us among the Malays. Indians also have been quite positive, right? And there's been some issue with PH and the Indian voters. But when it came to general election, the sense we get is that a lot of the Malay voters especially, going back to what I said, they feel that if they vote for BN, at least BN has a chance of winning. If they vote for Bersama, it's new, they are not sure. They don't want it to waste and allow PH to win. So that's where some of people change their minds or people make different calculations. And again, I think the lack of ground of volunteers on the ground, being a new party and all that. We hear stories of candidates, our candidates, meeting some old Chinese uncle or old Malay uncle saying, don't worry, I voted for you, or I voted for PH, because some of them were ex-PH activists.
Okay.
So in the minds, this is, people sometimes just, mark and without thinking. So they thought that they liked this guy, and this guy used to be PH. So they voted for PH, but this guy is a Bersama now, right? And Bersama is a new brand. So I think that is time. That's about time. It's a function of time that we need to improve ourselves and also the brand.
Okay, Johor, you've done it. Negeri Sembilan, you've skipped it, and Bersama has announced that it's going to contest in Melaka.
Correct.
So why Melaka? You did badly in Johor, so maybe perhaps skip that too, or?
Well, I think the idea now is that for Negeri Sembilan, because resources are limited, time and all that, we still, you look at the people who appear for Bersama, it's still mostly Rafizi and myself. Shukri, the president, yes, but there's not enough senior leaders and all that. So we feel that to go to Negeri Sembilan straight out of Johor, and there's a lot of money that's required and all that, would be quite a tall order. But Melaka again is one of the states that we feel that we have potential. This again, Melaka traditionally is another UMNO stronghold.
Yes.
But Melaka has also flipped 2018, right? So and then 2022 or 2021 it flipped again to UMNO. So which means that it is quite a dynamic state. So we decide to stand in Melaka because in order for us, I mean Melaka is one, but also in order for us to go to the 16th general election, I think in real battle-hardened mode, in proper preparedness, we need to put our teams on the ground a few times more. Okay. So Melaka provides us that opportunity, but also I think that Melaka in itself will be an interesting state election.
Why?
Well, I guess for Melaka, the fact that one, I mean, is the demography. The demography is very similar to what Bersama is all about, multiracialism and all that, but with a very strong UMNO component, right? And UMNO there includes the youth leader lah, Akmal Saleh, right?
Okay.
So it's all quite interesting. And Melaka is very dynamic. It is a very dynamic state, perhaps even more so than Negeri Sembilan. It's much more urbanized. And we want to see how it goes. I mean, the urban Malay vote, whether we would be able to garner it or not. So Melaka would be that test for us.
So how many Bersama YB from Melaka?
We will see. We will announce soon.
No. I mean, how many will you all
win?
Can win lah, or will
it
win?
won't be easy. It won't be easy. I mean,
Okay.
we know it won't be easy, but for us, it's like I said, to test the machinery, to test our systems, to create brand awareness. Meaning that the next round general election, we go to Melaka. For quite a number of people in Melaka, they've seen the flag and they've known what we stand for. So I think winning, I think not easy, but we will do our best and put out the best candidates as well.
Okay. This criticism or this advice, I think you hear it almost every day. The PH crowd or the crowd that is against, just say BN and against PN, what they say is, you all can't win. But what you're doing is you're just a spoiler. So why don't you just go back to PKR, strengthen PKR to fight the real enemy? That's
sure.
Yeah. So how do you answer that? And people message me and said, tell Nik and Rafizi, do not be stubborn. Just go with that.
Yeah.
The reform agenda.
Yeah. So I don't see the reform agenda being carried by PKR anymore. I mean, I think that's a problem for us, right? I mean, we've been stubborn with PKR for 20 over years. When the obvious thing, when I joined 2001, if I was ambitious and all that, I would have just joined UMNO. I mean, that was like a certain thing that you're already in power, the positions are there, money is there, and all that. But we were not interested in all that. We wanted to really make a difference. We were not dreaming of being ministers. We were dreaming of making a change, right? I like the idea of a multiracial party and all that. So I think that's one to establish. I think PKR's values is it doesn't seem to be holding true to those values anymore. But the other part, I think that people need to recognize is Bersama is small. We are new. We have 28,000 members. PKR has 1 million members. If this is, if I want to compare it to something, you have two big fast food restaurant chains. They're operating. They've been fighting each other for 20 years, whatever. And suddenly, fast food operator A, fast food operator B. And suddenly fast food operator B is complaining that they are starting to make losses, right? And they are blaming this new small stall, warung, that is opening just nearby. That's attracting some customers. But, we are perhaps still an enterprise and they are Berhad.
Okay.
So how do you blame us for anything? I mean, if there's anything, one is that maybe your food is not great anymore. Your food used to be great. People used to come to your shop. Now people come less, maybe because you're not giving, either the food is not great or the service is not great, right? And we are perhaps, offering something, but it's nothing. You can't compare us, right? If you are having a big menu, we probably have one or two dishes that are just sustaining us for now. That's one. But you're also assuming that everyone that goes to our small store was supposed to go to your shop. They might have just stayed at home and cooked, or they might have gone to the other shop if we were not around. So to me, that's a lot of assumptions. At the end of the day, any political party, just if you operate any kedai makan, it's your job to attract people to come to your store, to your shop. You don't blame someone else for people not coming. Right? I think that's something lazy that you're doing. Because if you're doing good, people won't come to our store. That's the point. Assuming that they all wanted to go to your store, the presence of us wouldn't have made a difference. And in Johor, yes, I think there's 2 seats where PH could have won, making the assumption that all the Bersama votes go to PH. But there's, I think, 1 BN seat that is the flip side, where the BN majority is smaller than the Bersama vote. But the fact is, Bersama lost all deposits for our 15 candidates. But also the fact remains that PH lost deposits for 7, I think, seats. For Bersama to lose deposit is not a surprise. People forget Johor has changed hands before, 2018. And yes, 2022 state election early in the year, BN won big like this round. But at the end of the year, during the general election, parliamentary, PH did very well. PKR managed to get 7 parliamentary seats, the biggest of any state in Johor, right? So I think PH has to reflect why things did not work out for PH this time around.
So there's no chance before G16 that Warung will join franchise B.
Never. Franchise A, franchise B, franchise C. We will be on our own.
I asked you about another big franchise, tapi now I consider they're a bit level slightly bigger coffee shop lah, kedai burger lah. Okay, I think that's what happened to Bersatu. So Bersatu, you think will it be on its own as a burger punya kedai, or will it join franchise B, which is it's called PH Burger Sdn Bhd?
Yeah. I don't know. I hear all sorts of rumors, right? So you know the split in Bersatu. In fact, I recently interviewed Wan Ahmad Faisal, which is with the other one, Wawasan. So I think Bersatu is going through some serious crisis as well, because the vast majority of MP is with the other side. And the backbone of Perikatan Nasional, what do you call that, PAS, is also, I think, focusing on Wawasan as opposed to Bersatu. So that creates real problems for the party. So, but I don't think one is that, one clearly, I think for Bersatu, they have no intention to be on their own.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So they think like most parties in Malaysia about joining a coalition. So you hear all sorts of rumors, which I don't know because now I'm no longer inside. But you hear that they're Bersatu's talking to PKR or PH. I don't know. And at the end of the day, Tan Sri Muhyiddin is still a former Prime Minister. It may just be a few MPs, but he still has some presence. Whether that will be enough to sustain them or not, I'm not sure, right? But what I can be sure of is that the Malay party scene is very saturated. Wawasan claims to be multiracial, but pretty much it is a Malay based party. So it's not easy to survive, to have if PAS is strong, UMNO is picking up, and then you have Wawasan and all that, then people will start to ask, why do you need Bersatu anymore, right? So I think that's a challenge for Bersatu.
Okay, use this phrase, UMNO is picking up. And UMNO did very well in Johor. They're back in, they're now in power. But do you think that's just a fluke? That because it's Johor, okay, Negeri is Negeri because they combine. But then in, just say G16, because they roughly won 26 MP seats, isn't it, UMNO? Do you think they can do better, or how do you see? Are they back?
Well, I think my sense is that simply because the other parties are in crisis, PKR, Bersatu, PN. I mean, of PAS in itself is not so much, but PAS gets affected and PN gets affected because of the whole Bersatu thing. So I think UMNO's strength has been like to be less problematic compared to the other parties, right? So I think they've been able also to consolidate to get people back, like KJ and all that. But I think they should not underestimate the loss of Malay votes because of 1MDB.
Okay.
And I mean the cases with regards to Datuk Sri Zahid is also hanging, and people are, that doesn't win them new voters for UMNO. So I think that is a challenge. My sense is I think they will do better than what they did in 2022 anyway. But the lack of choice and all that and also will benefit them. But how real and how strong the foundation of this UMNO resurgence remains to be seen. Whether it's something that is still very fragile. It looks strong when they may win. I don't know how many seats, but certainly better than 26. But whether that is something that is really strong or something that just looks good for now, that is debatable. So I think the issue is, like I said, corruption is still an issue. I mean, KJ faced problems when he went back because I think people liked his style when he was independent podcaster and all that. Of course, he was the one who was sacked from UMNO. But the moment he went back and he has to be doing things in line with the president and everything, he lost a lot of support from the independent-minded voters, right? So I don't think UMNO has it sorted as well, right? Okay. But for now, they are the strongest of all the parties that you see, at least in Peninsula. Yeah.
Not PAS? I thought PAS was stronger.
Well, PAS is stronger. PAS is true. PAS is stronger, but I think PAS has its own dilemma. Because I think Haji Hadi's calculations, know how I mean they're good with UMNO now, right? But in the long run, PAS and UMNO will never be able to live happily ever after because they are fighting for the same ground. When one is weak, they will work together. But when one is strong, they will one will step them in the back, and that has happened many times since PAS was back in Barisan the first time in the 70s. So I think PAS, the problem is because they have this idea of ulama leadership. And Haji Hadi, whatever it is, Haji Hadi is relatively highly regarded as a ulama, the same way as Tok Guru Nik Aziz and all that. But who's next? I mean, I guess you have Idris Ahmad, but the two poster boys, Dr. Samsuri and also Sanusi, they are not ulama.
Yeah.
So how do you gel those things, right? So I think PAS will also find that as a challenge because people say, okay, I mean, so it seems now they are selling Hamzah, right?
Yes.
And they remove Samsuri as the opposition leader.
Yes.
But so Samsuri, I think, didn't even manage to go to parliament as opposition leader.
Shortest one.
Shortest one. So I think people will say, why aren't you taking the lead? Why do you have to hide behind some other party, right? I mean, I guess they will say, yeah, but some people don't like us. Then why don't you adjust yourself? Not just be happy to be strong in the East Coast and all that, but to actually be seen as acceptable to everyone. Of course, Sanusi has his controversies, admittedly, but he has charisma. Samsuri is less so, but he is seen as educator, went to do his PhD in the UK. So I think PAS needs to figure out what it wants to be. Is it just an Islamic movement type of thing, or they want to be a serious political party that can produce the Prime Minister of Malaysia?
Okay. Earlier you mentioned 1MDB, and it was teased the next bombshell. It looks like it might be the next 1MDB. It is the Tabung Haji RCI report. But for me, it looks like it's a non-bombshell, and there's no boogeyman. Okay, to make the public angry over the losses in Tabung Haji. So how do you see this Tabung Haji issue in this Negeri Sembilan election, which is tomorrow, or even in the future?
Well, yeah, like you said, I mean, I think Tabung Haji, I think, cost UMNO a lot of support before 2018. I mean, it was seen as 1MDB, and I think 1MDB, to be fair, for some Malays, I mean, okay, of course, they are angry. You see all the luxury and all that, taxpayers' money. But Tabung Haji, because it's known, for many people in the kampung, they may not even save money. They don't have any other saving except for Tabung Haji because they want to perform the Hajj. And Tabung Haji traditionally has been the best. It has been very well designed. Many countries envy Tabung Haji as an institution. They manage the pilgrims. The money is invested well and all that. So when when Aziz Rahim was appointed, an UMNO politician, and all the stories you hear, I think UMNO suffered a lot, and because things like Tabung Haji, Mara, and all that, these are
Felda.
These are Bumi Putra or Malay institutions. It's emotive. Right, things that I remember, we went overseas, we would be proud of when people say, "Oh, Malaysia, you have Tabung Haji and all that." So a lot of Malays were very pissed off with that, and that affected UMNO, and I think perhaps just as much as 1MDB, because 1MDB is something new and all that in 2018.
Yes.
Okay.
Now it's 2026.
2026.
And 2027.
2027. So so I think the whole thing was, of course, they were trying to create all this funny spin about when it was during the PH era and all that. That's from the UMNO side, and it was actually UMNO BNPN that pushed for this RCI. It wasn't during the PH era. That's one, and two. But the results came out, I think 2022. I mean, the report was ready. People then will ask, why is it that this government only decide to reveal it now, right? And the way it seemed political. And I think that's a problem for the current government, the Madani government, is that it is seen as political with the Negeri Sembilan vote happening. I don't think in Negeri Sembilan it will have a major impact. It's too last minute anyway, and the report, it's so thick. Yes, there will be commentators, right? There will be people who will give their version. But there's also the other side, because meaning the UMNO PAS will also give their version. The PH or the independent accountants will give their version. So there are many versions, and people will just be, if you're on social media, you're stuck in your FYP. If you don't see Rafizi, you don't see Rafizi. And if you don't see Anwar Ibrahim, you don't see Anwar Ibrahim, right? So to me, it won't then make a lot of dent in politics with the Tabung Haji report. So yeah, I think the fact that suddenly it seemed political, right? And I mean, even previously, when I remember it was even asked by the former minister Mujahid,
yes,
with regards to, because he wanted all this to be out, so he wanted it to be revealed. And the government's official answer has always been is OSA, and we all know everything is OSA until the government decides that it can be revealed. So that is a very silly answer. That is OSA. So I think that's why people feel that it's political. It's a political stunt. Not belittling the damage done to Tabung Haji, but I think it's a bit too late to move the needle politically.
Okay, yesterday I had a conversation with a political analyst, and then they were talking about Tabung Haji, and also that it looks like PH is in trouble, and then the fact that the gloves, they said gloves are out, they're going to whack UMNO. Do you see any arrests in the next few days or few weeks?
I don't know. I mean, I think because it's a very delicate situation, right? My sense is PH wants the term to go to the end, or at least until mid next year or something, right? And obviously I think UMNO wants it to be earlier. Okay. And that's the whole point of having this state election separately and everything. So if you ask me, it's a very delicate thing that they have to play. If they are too rough, then UMNO might just say, so be it, right? But they need to damage. I mean, that's the thing. I think the mistake of PH is that for so long, they have deluded themselves to think that this was a happily ever after marriage. If they said that we had to be together because we didn't have the numbers, people accept that. I remember people were very happy. People were very happy not to have PN in government. I mean, I think especially among urban Malays, among non-Malays. But, and rightfully so, PH had the most number of seats, right? So PH should play a role there. But if they said very clear, okay, this is a one-term Madani unity government, okay, we'll work together, we'll be professional, we'll serve the people. But we know that, we are appealing to different things. Right? The word Najib, to PH voters will have a different impact than to the BN voters. You know that. So you can't stay on and on because of these conflicting things. The word DAP, right? I mean, obviously for DAP it's good, but for UMNO it's bad. So if it's so emotive, you know you can't last. So you should have said that this is a one-term government. Okay, and this is, okay, we take the bits from our manifesto because no one has the numbers. UEC is controversial. There are other things. And BN's manifesto was rather progressive in 2022. PH and all that. Combine lah, GPSC. And then you list out, okay? Because since we are a unity government, we will take the best from the manifesto, and these are the 20 items that we will deliver in these 5 years. After that, we'll go back to the people and you judge who should rule. If there's no majority again, then we talk again. Right? But they were so like, no, we want to last forever. We want to stay. This is like, they were, PHBN is a forever thing. And I think that was the mistake. So now when suddenly you want to take off your gloves, when you were singing love songs for so many years, it looks very desperate and it becomes a bit too late. I think a lot of PH voters are very disillusioned. And for the BN voters, it just confirms, why they can't work with PH. So it's not good for the politics.
Okay, you said that Anwar will want to finish his term, whereas UMNO wants it the G16 sooner. What does Bersama wants?
We don't matter because we are talking about the Prime Minister.
Yes.
And you're talking about.
But do you prefer soon?
Yeah.
Just say October G16, or do you rather it get until the end because you need time? Or,
well, I think
how does it go into your calculation?
I guess a bit more time would be good, definitely. But for us, we have to be ready whenever elections are called. We know that it's this is something when elections is something beyond our control. I think our preparation is as if elections are going to happen this year. That's as far as Bersama is concerned. The rest and anything else is a bonus.
Okay. My last question and very serious question. Do you think Liverpool will win the EPL and also the Champions League?
Wow.
Okay.
I didn't follow much of EPL last year when Liverpool was not
I
performing.
ikut lah. Yeah. Switch off.
So we bought a lot of good players the start of last season, and true enough, it did not have a happy ending.
Yeah.
But I like the new coach. I think he's done well, his way of playing and all that. Of course, I hope that we can win and go all the way. Certainly the squad is Liverpool is one of the better teams, compared to the league. So hopefully this we can see a good result. We were surprised. I was surprised when we were able to win it the first season after Klopp. Okay. I think that we have a really good team, younger team now. Salah has left. Obviously, that is a major vacuum, but perhaps it can allow other people to step in, and maybe less of the, when people someone like Salah was so powerful, it made it difficult. Last season showed it made it very difficult for the coach for Slot at that time to do his things. So with, of course we miss Salah, but I think we can see a new generation of Liverpool players to prove themselves.
Okay. How about Champions League?
Champions League, yeah, I think can. I think it's easier, of course, because it's knockout. Yeah, compared to the EPL. EPL is very competitive.
Okay. With that, any last words on our podcast? Anything you want to say?
Any last words? Well, I think for those who want to see some things being done differently, I think that's why we are doing Bersama. We've always believed in the values. It's not about power alone or positions alone. Of course, power positions allow us to do things, but if it's just about power and positions, then you are, it made no reason for me to join PKR in the difficult days, right? So that's why when we feel that it's no longer useful, we've decided or faithful to those values, we decided to start from scratch. It's tough, but it's fun. It's like having a political startup, disrupting the political market. And hopefully by doing this, Malaysians will see a new generation of younger politicians. Not just about Rafizi and myself. We are not young chickens, spring chickens, right?
Yeah, okay.
That's the term. We are not spring chickens anymore. But the hope is that we would be able to groom a younger generation of politicians who can better represent what Malaysians want compared to a lot of the veterans that you see dominating Malaysian politics today.
Oh, I'm very tempted to ask you, so I'll ask, do you think you can retain Setiabangsa?
Yes, it won't be easy, but I do believe that I can retain by working hard and continuing to serve the people of Setiabangsa.
Okay, thanks Nick so much for
Thank
your insight. Thanks for watching, and this concludes our podcast for today. Thanks.